Introduction. Hello, and welcome to the Transportation Planning Capacity Building video series. This video series is sponsored by the Transportation Planning Capacity Building Program, jointly administered by the Federal Highway and Federal Transit Administrations. The topic of this video is public participation plans, and the content was developed with the support of the Federal Highway Administration's subject matter expert in public involvement, Mac Frost, transportation specialist in the FHWA Office of Planning. The goal of this video is to explain what public participation plans are, their requirements, and how they can help your agency succeed in public engagement efforts. Strong public involvement practices ensure all voices in a community are heard and can make the difference between a successful plan with community input and one that does not take into consideration the true needs of a community. By the end of this video, you will understand what a public participation plan is, when and why they are required, common topics covered in a plan, best practices to follow in developing a plan, and hopeful outcomes of meaningful public involvement. This video does not constitute a standard, specification, or regulation, and does not create any requirement other than those contained in statute and regulation. As you work through this video and learn more about public participation plans, you should look to the following resources: FTA's Public Involvement and Outreach in Transportation Planning, the Transportation Planning Capacity Building webpage on public involvement, FHWA's Virtual Public Involvement website. Definition: a public participation plan documents the process your agency or organization follows when conducting public engagement. The plan describes interested parties, public involvement methods, and consultation processes, and generally governs how your organization will approach public involvement. For example, a state DOT's plan may include information on how they will involve the public in developing, reviewing, and approving the Statewide Transportation Improvement Program, or STIP. A public participation plan that a Metropolitan Planning Organization, or MPO, publishes may establish how they will engage the public in developing the Metropolitan Transportation Plan for the region. Parties interested in creating a plan may include, but are not limited to, public transportation providers, private transportation providers, freight shippers, local, regional, state, federal, and tribal governments and organizations, and advocacy organizations. Across the transportation sector, several terms are used to describe plans for public involvement based on different laws, regulations, and local practices. Terms may include public participation plans, public involvement plans, public involvement process, community engagement plans, or community participation plans. These terms generally mean the same thing, and for the purposes of this video, we will use the term public participation plan. Developing a thorough public participation plan is a best practice for meaningful public involvement and is reflected in the planning process. The next section will discuss existing regulations that pertain to the development and implementation of PPPs. Regulatory context. Public involvement is a requirement for agencies such as State Department of Transportation's, or state DOTs, and Metropolitan Planning Organizations, or MPOs. Further requirements for MPOs are addressed in the Code of Federal Regulations, entitled 23 CFR, Section 450.316, stating that the MPO shall develop and use a documented participation plan that defines a process for providing interested parties with reasonable opportunities to be involved in the metropolitan transportation planning process. Requirements for state DOTs are addressed in Section 450.210, which states, the state shall develop and use a documented public involvement process that provides opportunities for public review and comment at key decision points. Both of those sections of the CFR lay out required components and considerations within the process, including requirements for public notice and intentionally seeking representation from underserved communities. We'll go over plan requirements in greater detail in the next section of this video. But for detailed information, please refer directly to the Code of Federal Regulations. Depending on the organization undertaking the development of a public participation plan, there may be other federal, state, or local regulations that apply. Plan components. Requirements describing which components of a public participation plan need to be included vary by organization type and applicable regulation. However, the regulatory requirements for most organizations cover many of the same areas. For example, an agency's public participation plan should outline a continuous public involvement approach with all stakeholders. Engaging stakeholders throughout the planning and project delivery process ensures that the vision represented by stakeholder input is represented in the final product. Provide public access to information used in the development of plans and projects, and specify how information about plans and projects will be shared. This ensures transparency in the planning process. Implement a strategy for holding meetings accessible to the public for input and information sharing. Limiting engagement periods to occur at regular times or only using one medium may limit populations from participating in the process, which will make engagement less effective. Demonstrate how public input will be used in the planning process. Successfully sharing this message will instill confidence in the organization by the public. It can also help guide the public to providing more helpful and targeted input into the planning process. Document how the agency will continuously update its public involvement process. This provides an opportunity for organizations to build on effective practices and make changes for future efforts. For more information, please refer to Title 23 CFR, Part 450. Best practices. One important goal of transportation planning is to set your agency up to achieve the best outcomes for project success by obtaining useful public input. Along with meeting the statutory requirements, your agency can deliver plans and programs more successfully by approaching the public engagement process creatively. While it may feel like an extra step, integrating a holistic approach to public involvement by drafting a thoughtful public participation plan will improve your agency's transportation decision-making process overall. Follow these tips to use public engagement plans to your advantage. First, make sure you're engaging the public early in the planning process. You should also tailor your approach to engaging the public for each specific purpose and audience. Be sure to consider the different public engagement tools in the Public Participation Plan toolbox to solicit feedback from the public most efficiently. And remember to create several opportunities for engagement using various techniques to reach all potential stakeholders. It's also critical to make public information, including both administrative information, such as meeting times and locations, as well as documents, easily available and presented in a format and language that your constituents will understand. Similarly, it is a recognized notable practice to inform the public about how their input has been and will continue to be incorporated into the planning process. This will help guide them to provide information that your agency will find most useful and encourage them to continue to engage with you for future projects. Since plans and programs and the context in which they're delivered can vary widely, it's important to think creatively about how to engage the public. While striving to include in the plan all of the outreach measures you intend to use, don't feel that the plan constrains you. There may be opportunities for engagement not addressed in the plan, and their absence from the plan need not prevent you from taking them. But you should include what you did in the next version of your agency's plan. The PPP is required to review the effectiveness of the procedures and strategies to ensure meaningful public involvement. Remember that you can and should update your public participation plan regularly, based on your experience of what works in your community and what can be improved. Outputs and outcomes. It is vital to continuously re-examine the effectiveness of your public participation plan and improve your agency's process based on lessons learned. To do so, you should adapt the tools and techniques your agency has learned to implement within the transportation planning process. Categorizing metrics into outputs and outcomes may be a useful framework to help your agency improve their public engagement approach. Outputs of an engagement activity can be assessed as soon as the activity is complete and are easily observable. Examples of metrics that are considered outputs include counting the number of people who attend an event, the average response time to inquiries from the public, if there is a presence of public officials at each event, the number of project website views, or the cost of putting together the public engagement plan. Outputs are objective facts, but may be represented through quantitative or qualitative metrics. Outcomes, on the other hand, describe the longer-term changes in the planning process that result from the outputs of an engagement activity. Examples include whether the participants felt they had adequate notice of public engagement opportunities, whether participants felt their input was valued in the process, how public input was used, and whether public input affected the resulting planning documents. Outcomes can be evaluated using both objective facts as well as the subjective opinions of the public being served and the transportation professionals involved in the planning process. Effective public involvement can significantly increase the benefits gained from your efforts as an agency. Exercising the methods outlined in a well-written public participation plan can increase trust between your organization and the community served, increase the likelihood that projects, programs, or plans will be accepted, and result in more effective solutions to the transportation problems your community faces. Further, effective public engagement can improve a community's knowledge of the project, program, or plan and empower people from different backgrounds to become involved in transportation decision-making, not to mention ensure compliance with legislation and policies requiring public input and non-discrimination. In creating a successful plan, public participation efforts are particularly effective when they can incorporate fresh perspectives from the community by providing first-hand information about community-specific issues and concerns. This engagement process may also flag potential controversies to investigate, generate ideas for deeper community involvement, and identify solutions to problems that best meet your community's needs and result in an efficient use of your organizational resources. After all, the people that make up the community have the best understanding of the transportation system that serves them. It's crucial for your agency to seek out and consider the needs of those traditionally underserved by existing transportation systems, such as low-income households, who may face challenges accessing employment and other services. In general, organizations will benefit from incorporating and evaluating their process and focusing on all aspects at every step, from planning through implementation and final decision-making. Recap and conclusion. Now that you're familiar with public participation plans, or whatever terminology your agency uses to describe such a document, you should make the most of it. While there are certain requirements established in regulation that govern public participation plans, you should consider drafting your plan not only to meet those requirements, but to create a tool that your agency can leverage to take advantage of all the benefits that effective public engagement can provide. A strong public participation plan can make the difference between successful public engagement, where the community has proper input into decision-making processes, and weak or no engagement, where the community is not considered, or potentially left out of the conversation altogether. To take the next step in developing an effective public participation plan, remember to consult the following resources for more information: the Transportation Planning Capacity Building (TPCB) webpage on public involvement. If you want to learn more about engaging the public virtually, please visit FHWA's Virtual Public Involvement website for videos and more information. Please note that, except for the statutes and regulations mentioned, the content of this video does not have the force and effect of law and is not meant to bind the public in any way. This video is intended only to provide information and clarity to the public regarding existing requirements under the law or agency policies.